What would be the things that for you would be very important that we can teach children, that we can teach kids after we move on? What would be the things that kids would really want to remember us by to help them succeed and be happy in life?
You know, the greatest gift you can give your kids, you know what that is?
I would say love.
No, it's not love. And in fact, that could be detrimental. And I'll explain to you why in a minute. The greatest gift you can give your kids is this. Give them the ability to handle life by throwing adversity at them. See, a lot of kids nowadays are really quite entitled. They've never experienced any adversity because the parents think, I've been through so much, I don't want my child to go through that. But it's the worst possible thing you can do. And the other big mistake parents make is this. They make the child the number one priority. You must never, ever do that. Because if you start making the child the number one priority, the relationship between the partners changes. And when the child goes to university, then what? The source of the love has disappeared.
Yeah.
Whereas if you make your partner your number one priority, the child sees that. The child will do the same, and the relationship will never fail. So we need to teach our children more carefully, more powerfully, and more practically.
So be open to giving them adversity.
Not open to it. You must throw adversity at them that they can reasonably handle. So, for example, when Richard Branson was 5 years old, he was put in the middle of a field and told to get home. And I wanted to do the same with my kids who are 9 and 7. And my wife said, no, are you crazy? And I thought, yeah, maybe you're right. So we were living in London at the time. So we said, okay, this is what we'll do. We'll take them into central London and we'll drop them off and they have to get home. That was 20 years ago. If you see them, can you tell them where we live? Because we haven't seen them since.
That's a good one.
We were 10 feet behind them, but only in emergency could they contact us. And they grew from that. And we threw some other adversity at them. You know, my daughter had to fly to London when she was, 8 years old or something. Flew from London to Orlando by herself at the age of 8. We sent my son around the world when he was 18. We sent my daughter around the world when she was 18, alone. I remember she was in Australia, actually, and she said, Dad, I'm going to China tomorrow. I said, great. She said, Dad, I have nowhere to stay. I said, great. And she said, she went quiet. I said, aren't you going to help me? I said, honey, it's not my problem. You can handle this. I believe in you. So she did. But I could have easily done it for her. But now, she doesn't need to ask me for that stuff. So that the conversations we have are much more deeper and more loving and more concentrated on the important stuff.
Yeah. I do that. I like to think I do that myself with my daughter. Even it's the smallest things, like we could be in a restaurant and she might want some ice cream for dessert. She's eaten all of her dinner, or she wants to go and we need to pay the bill. And it's always me saying, okay, well, if you want that, go and ask for the bill. Go up to the waiter, go and pay the bill. Here's my card, go and do it yourself. And I try and encourage that as opposed to me doing everything all of the time, which I'm assuming little things like that will help.
Absolutely. And, we did the same, and we would also ask the kids to order. Sometimes they would order too much. Really, but you have to let them make the mistake and say, okay, what did you think went wrong? Well, Dad, I should have done that. Yeah, great. Now you know. It's okay.
Yeah.
What's the worst that could happen?
You quite happily let them order for the whole table, and then if it's too much, then okay, that's a mistake, but we can learn from it, and we don't do it again.
Yeah. And but you put systems in place that say, look, these are the things you need to be aware of. Okay, so you go ahead, and obviously, if it's something really crazy, the waiter should say, I think that's too much. Yeah. And then we would put a caveat or a limiter, or say, look, son, I know you're going to order, but always ask the waiter, do you think that's a reasonable order for this size of table?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So then, you put the concept of limiters in so that they can apply that in other areas of your life. If they're doing a deal, do you think that's reasonable? If there's out somewhere else, do you think that's reasonable? So it's really empowering them, not just in one area of life, but in every area of your life. Because once you increase their level of awareness, they'll see things that other kids will not see.